Up, and up. The median home prices in New Braunfels continue to trend up year over year, and in most cases, month over month. But the big question now is, what happens in September when the Fed makes a decision on interest rates? That single decision in September could flip the market in New Braunfels, could change the way buyers and sellers play the game in New Braunfels. So today, let's break down what a rate cut could mean for buyers and sellers in New Braunfels in a market that continues to just trend up. Plus, two real life stories that will give you the inside edge in how to navigate this New Braunfels market, whether you're looking to buy or sell. If you are new here to my channel, thank you so much for coming aboard, because every week we're putting out timely and relevant information just like this about what it's like to live in New Braunfels. The Federal Reserve is driving a lot of what we're talking about today. Markets are now betting that the Fed is likely to cut rates in September. I mean, traders are putting the odds above 80% there's going to be a rate cut, and big banks like JP Morgan have already moved their forecast forward. This big bombshell came out of Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where Fed Chairman Jerome Powell admitted the labor market is weakening and said that the Fed may need to cut rates, though they would proceed carefully. That single phrase lit up the bond market like the 4th of July, got everyone expecting a rate cut in September. Now, when investors expect rates to fall, then bond yields drop, and then mortgage rates follow those bond yields. So when the great wizard Powell hints at rate cuts, it doesn't just move Wall Street. No. It moves down your monthly payment in New Braunfels. Now, Powell hasn't guaranteed or promised anything at this point, but here's the impact for New Braunfels if we do see a rate cut. And if we do, it really depends. It really depends on how much of a rate cut. But if it's enough to move the needle, then New Braunfels new home builders probably won't need to keep throwing out huge incentives and discounts, the free upgrades, the closing costs, the big rate buy downs. Discounts could shrink really fast on new construction homes in New Braunfels, but on the flip side of that, that could be really good news for resale homes in New Braunfels. We'll get to that in just a second. The other if in the game is if the Fed holds steady with rates, those incentives and discounts stay on the table, which is why builders continue to dominate the New Braunfels housing market. And let's look at that right now. The market in both city limits and hill country, median prices are up compared to last year at this time. Existing homes are mixed up slightly in hill country and down slightly in city limits. Now, lots of inventory of existing homes between 7 and 8 months. That's a lot. So a rate cut could loosen up that inventory by creating more buyer demand, and that could be huge for existing home sellers getting squeezed out the last 2.5, 3 years by new construction deals. So the biggest takeaway could be existing home sellers on even footing now with new construction homes in New Braunfels as far as sales, if the rates drop that noticeably to the point where builders are saying, look, no more incentives or discounts, and now you have both players playing on the same field. Until then, it's just the same old story. Existing homes in New Braunfels are just getting clobbered by new construction, where prices are up 8 to 20% year over year. Inventory is down to around 4 months, and it's builders' incentives, like we talked about, that are pulling this whole market higher. It's all about price point. Inside city limits, about 78% of all homes are selling at or below $399,000. Conversely, in the hill country, where homes are larger and you have more land, 76% of the homes are selling between $400,000 and $1 million plus. We got to experience both sides this past week. First, showing buyers a resale home in New Braunfels that had been on the market for about 50 days. And that's not a long time in this market. It's not where homes are taking anywhere from 80 to 100 days to close on average. But the buyers loved this home. Priced right, the comps supported it, but the buyers wanted to come in 6% lower. And I said, that's not a good idea. So they decided to come up a little bit more, but we lost to another buyer who offered more. Like I said, this home had been sitting on the market in New Braunfels almost 50 days, but that's because the seller started at a higher listing price. But once they brought it down, they adjusted the price to just below market value. They found themselves all of a sudden in a multiple offer situation, which is where you want to be, because then you control price and terms, and they eventually sold it. Even though our comps showed that the price was right on the price readjustment, our buyers still wanted a deal. They wanted more equity walking into the house. Who doesn't, right? Offered lower and lost. Any home that is clean, is structurally sound, on a nice size lot, priced right, is eventually going to sell in New Braunfels. Don't expect a bargain. Don't expect a bargain unless that house has been sitting on the market in New Braunfels a very long time, let's say 150 days or more, or unless the agent reaches out to you and says, hey, we'll take anything at this point. Don't expect a bargain. The flip side is that we listed this house in New Braunfels and priced it aggressively because the sellers must move. And that's the key. It's a must, not a want. And I don't mean to go Tony Robbins on you here, but we don't get our wants. If you're leaving things for chances, hey, if we get it, we get it. We don't. You're not going to get it. You're only going to get what you need at the time. So this must sell listing, this house went live on a Monday, lots of showings. And by Wednesday, 2 days later, we accepted one of 2 offers. In both cases, with our sellers and our buyers, pricing below market value on those listings help draw interest and offers, and pricing is everything in New Braunfels, especially in a slow market, but so is motivation to buy and to sell. And that's the difference between winning and losing in the New Braunfels housing market. I mean, think about it. If you don't need a home right away ASAP and you have all this time to play with, then you're just going to spin the wheel of chance, and wherever it falls, it falls. You're going to lowball offers, and more often than not, you're going to lose. If you need a house, you must have something right now. More often than not, you're going to win. Same thing with sellers. Sellers who must sell in New Braunfels at this time are pricing their house at or below market value and eventually selling. Conversely, sellers who are not motivated, no clear plan forward, don't have to sell the time, they are sitting on the market a very long time and probably getting very frustrated. Sellers, pay attention despite what you paid for your house, let's say 2 or 3 years ago, because we're getting a lot of those calls and the market has been in reverse the last 2 or 3 years. Pay attention to the sold comps, what they say, not what you say. These are the hard truths about this market. Like I said, it's been in decline the last 2 or 3 years, but if you need to sell, pay attention to sold comps. Now, with the Fed hinting at a rate cut in September, again, depending on how big that rate cut is, it could make it a whole lot easier for existing home sellers in New Braunfels to get more of what they want for the house, and also make it a whole lot easier for buyers. Lower mortgage rates, lower monthly payments, and they can afford more house. I highly, highly doubt we're going to see rates in the 3s and 4s anytime soon. I think it's going to be more close to the high 5s, low 6s, more of a controlled decrease. Now, let's play out this Disney fantasy. Let's say we do get rates within a year between 3 and 4%, somewhere in the 3s and 4s. I'm betting the farm we won't, but let's just, argument's sake, say we do. Then we're going to have the same situation we had 4 or 5 years ago in New Braunfels, a rush of home buyers here. Home prices spiking, little to no inventory, market value spiking, property taxes spiking. So what happens in September could tip the scales here in New Braunfels for buyers and sellers. There's so much land in New Braunfels, 45, 46 square miles, and builders keep building, and there's all this inventory. So September looms large for New Braunfels sellers and buyers. Are you on the fence still, or are you thinking about getting off that proverbial fence one leg at a time? Listen, whether you're thinking about buying or selling in New Braunfels, there's no guarantee what's going to happen in September, whether the rate's going to go down or whether it's going to stay the same, but there's one guarantee: I will always be here for you. So if you're thinking about buying or selling in New Braunfels, of course, I would reach out to me. I'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. You can email me, you can call me, or you can shoot me a text. As always, thank you so much for coming to and watching our videos every week, and we'll see you on the next one.